Okay, so today we got to talk about the extent of which Ronnie Perkins, Trejan Bridges, and Rhamondre Stevenson could be out for Oklahoma, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I'm not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today I want to talk about the extent of what Ronnie Perkins, Trejan Bridges, and Rhamondre Stevenson could be facing if indeed they have been suspended for failing a drug test. Now, as a matter of policy, NCAA performs drug tests for postseason bowls. They don't test everybody, but they test a number of players. This is every postseason bowl, and yeah, a couple of them usually get popped, but usually not in the college football playoff, because it's not that those dudes necessarily aren't partaking of said marijuana, if that's indeed what it is, allegedly. It's that everybody knows that this is a thing that could happen, and college football playoff is the biggest game of the season for a lot of people, including those 4 teams. So, look, maybe have your head on straight, but I've said that a number of times. What happens if indeed they are suspended for not just this game, but other games, is 4 years ago, it used to be that if you tested positive for marijuana or any other banned substance, you were ineligible to play for an entire year, and you lost a year of eligibility that you would not get back. Amani Bledsoe had this happen to him at Oklahoma for a positive test on a thing that isn't really even a thing, but that's another story altogether. Point here is they even raised the minimum for which you had to test positive for when tested from 15 milligrams of THC to 35 milligrams of grams of THC. I'm messing up the order of measurement here, but I know it's 15 to 35. Point that I'm making here is that they made it a little bit harder on themselves to pop people for positive drug tests, and they reduced that ban, that suspension, from 1 year to 50% of your season. So for college football, 12-game regular seasons, that means 6 games. So for Oklahoma and these players, it's not just the college football playoff. If Oklahoma should overcome the odds of a 14-point deficit, they are a 14-point dog to LSU, and win this game, Ronnie Perkins, Rhamondre Stevenson, and Trejan Bridges wouldn't be eligible for the national championship. So there's that as well, which means you would also be down, once again, your best pass rusher, your best defensive lineman against, well, Clemson or Ohio State, which many people believe are the 2 best teams in college football as it is anyway, to say nothing of what Ohio State's offensive line and run game has been doing, and Travis Etienne is averaging 8.2 yards per carry, so either way, you're screwed. And in particular, talking about Ronnie Perkins, we're talking about double-digit tackles for loss, leads the team in sacks. Yes, you could get a lot of help from guys like Jalen Redmond and LaRon Stokes, but replacing Ronnie Perkins with a guy like Kenneth Mann, who has been injured more often than not and hasn't really had the season this year that everybody expected him to have, means you're just down that player one more time. Now, I think there's some hope in here defensively, because I think Marcus Stripling is a dude and can absolutely play ball. He was so fast coming off the ball at the opening in 2018, and Alex Grinch had great things to say about him, particularly in a game against Houston where he didn't necessarily make a play, but he was in position to make a play because he knew what was coming and it was so fast getting there. You also perhaps could get help from other true freshmen like Marcus Hicks, for instance, who is a load. 270 pounds, and test, according to Track and Football, as the most athletic player on the entire roster. This dude's a state champion wrestler, and pretty good track and field with the disc and the shot. So you got guys that just aren't proven. We all know that Ronnie Perkins is, and I know that there are people that are upset about that. On the other side of the ball, while you miss Bridges because he does provide you just another weapon in the receiving game, you have a number of weapons in the receiving game. It's Rhamondre Stevenson that's going to hurt, because now I got filled in on a detail that I totally missed in my text messages that I should have just seen. Marcus Major's probably not ready to go with his shoulder surgery having been performed earlier in the year. So you're down to Kennedy Brooks and TJ Pledger in your backfield. After, start the season with Trey Sermon, and of course, with thinking Rhamondre Stevenson was going to be a big deal to this team. So now it's really Kennedy Brooks and Jalen Hurts that are going to have to carry the load. And if you go back to the interview that I performed with Joel Klatt, one of the things he hit on was Oklahoma has to run the football and has to make LSU play the game on its terms, which is, he said, you're probably looking at north of 40 rushing attempts by Oklahoma, perhaps with 20 to Jalen Hurts and 20 to Kennedy Brooks, and you're going to try to get matchups for Jalen and matchups for Kennedy. You're probably going to ask your offensive line to do a lot of the work so that you can perhaps get one-on-one matchups on the outside for not just CeeDee Lamb, but Charleston Rambo, and tight ends, Lee Morris, and fullbacks, Braden Willis. All of these guys can come in the fold, but it starts with running the football, and not having Rhamondre Stevenson to help you means you don't have your biggest and strongest tailback at your disposal. And in particular, if you get a lead and you need to pound out the rock, Rhamondre Stevenson was the closer. That was the guy that everybody expected to get the bulk of the carries, even as Kennedy Brooks has 976 yards on the ground. He needs, again, just 24 to get to a 1,000-yard season. But Rhamondre had over 500 yards rushing. And this is a season which is odd because your quarterback is not just your leading passer, he's your leading rusher on this team, and he's the 1,200-yard rusher. So the only way that it could get worse is if perhaps you lose Kennedy Brooks, for which folks will remember that way back in the summer, it looked like that might have been on the table with a Title IX investigation, for which has come and gone. But that's how close Oklahoma has been playing with fire when it comes to its backs in this whole situation. As for demeanor and how you feel about this game, look, I'm going to do a segment about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the LSU side of this, but LSU fans are looking at this going, hey, we have the Heisman winner, we have the Biletnikoff Award winner, we have the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award winner, we have the Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line, which is to say we basically swept the award season, and y'all got Bama sloppy seconds, to which Oklahoma fans are like, cool, bet. We like it that way. And that's how I personally would like it. I like walking in to a crowd of people that just do not like me, because the real hate feels way better than the fake love. And if you keep that same energy, if you stay charged up and you walk into Atlanta Mercedes-Benz Stadium with something to show and something to prove, you could shock the world. All right, that's it for me. First Class Heat and Air LLC is a family-owned HVAC business owned and operated in Tulsa, Oklahoma. First Class Heat and Air LLC gladly services northeastern Oklahoma. Give my man Lee a call at 918-606-1537. That's First Class Heat and Air LLC. Give Lee a call, 918-606-1537. Tell him RJ sent you.